morning, everybody. Eyes on me. We're going to start the lesson in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everybody ready?
Yes.
We always start by talking about our standards that we're going to be learning. The standard today is our literacy standard. I'm going to read it to you even if it's a little confusing, but by the end of the lesson, I think it will be clear. The literacy standard we're working on today is comparing and contrasting text in different forms, and here's the magic word, of genres. Genres. Stories and poems, historical novels, fantasy stories. We're going to compare and contrast text in terms of their approaches to similar themes and topics. We're always working through our standards. The standard today is genre. Now let's talk about it in a way that maybe we can understand it a little better. We have two objectives today. The first objective today is that we will be able to identify what is genre. The second objective we have today is we will be able to classify different types of genre. What is genre and how do we classify it? Everybody ready?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Here's what I want you to do first. I want you to go directly to your writing pads and I want you to write a paragraph for me. This will be kind of fun. I want you to write a paragraph about the best book you ever read. We've all been reading lots of books for the last semester, and I want you to write me one paragraph about the best book you ever read. But here's the trick. I want you to tell me why it was great. I want you to tell me why it was great, and I want you to be sure to tell me what kind of book it was. The best book you ever read, why it was great, what kind of book. Okay? Take your time. Melissa, I'm going to give you what I know you would have written. And Kendra, I'm going to give you what I know you would have written. So, now that you've taken a few moments to write about the best book you ever read, why it was great, and what type of book it was, why don't we start with Melissa. Read your paragraph.
The best book that I ever read was Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I thought it was so funny that Greg and Rowley needed to shave twice a day, even though they are only in the 6th grade.
Who else read Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
I did.
Did you think it was funny?
Yeah.
Do you think it was funny because they had to shave twice a day?
Yeah.
Okay, I like Diary of a Wimpy Kid too. I thought it was funny, and I thought the reason it was funny was because they had to shave. Okay, good. That was a good paragraph. Kendra.
The best book that I ever read was Stormbreaker. I thought it was so great because Alex Rider has to be an undercover agent to save everyone, even though he's only 14 years old. And I think it's a mystery or suspense book.
Ah, okay. So I want you to see something. Melissa loved Diary of a Wimpy Kid and told us why it was funny. Kendra read Stormcatcher?
Stormbreaker.
Stormbreaker told us why it was suspenseful, but then she was even able to take the next step and identify what type of book it was. So I want you to read your last line again, Kendra. That was excellent.
It is a mystery or suspense book.
There it is. It was a mystery or suspense book. So we have a mystery or suspense book, and we know that Diary of a Wimpy Kid is a funny book. Now I'm going to do one. So I'm going to read aloud the first... You have a question?
Well, could I have also said it was a fiction book?
That's a great question. Let me give you a quick answer. Yes, fiction is a type of genre, so you're catching on right away. That's
Okay.
perfect. I'm going to read one, and I'm going to read from a book that I brought with me. Kind of gives it away a little bit, but there it is. And I'll read the first paragraph. Of course I was religious. I grew up in the church. My father is a preacher. My grandfather was a preacher. My great-grandfather was a preacher. My only brother is a preacher. My daddy's brother is a preacher. So I didn't have much choice. Preacher. I'm reading from the autobiography of Martin Luther King. What type of book is this, would I say to myself? An autobiography. So now we've got an autobiography. We've got a humorous book. Kendra's identified a mystery book. And Melissa actually identified fiction as sort of a type of a book. Now I want you guys to do what I call a think aloud, okay? Did you ever walk into a library and see how it was divided into different sections? We all go to the library, right? And we know that it's got all sorts of different sections. Why do you think librarians do this, Kendra? Why do you think they divide libraries into different sections?
To organize the books into different genres.
Well, that's a perfect answer. Correct.
So that it's easier to find.
Well, I loved your first answer. To organize books into different genres or different types. Does that make some sense? Genres or types? Mm-hmm. In fact, Kendra, the word genre is French for kind or type. Books are classified, just like in libraries, into different genres or kinds of types. Each genre has different characteristics. So you're 100% spot on about why libraries are divided into different types or genres, or how they're divided. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to split everybody up into groups of 4, okay? You're going to go to the library. And you're going to peruse all the books in the library. Anybody know what the vocabulary word peruse means? Melissa? Peruse.
To look for?
You're going to look for it. You're going to investigate. You're going to look around. You're going to peruse the library. And your assignment is to make a list of at least 3 different types of books or genres of books that are in our library. Everybody got that?
Yes.
Questions?
Do we have to write it down?
Great question. Yes. And what you're going to do is you're going to come back in 10 minutes and we'll do it verbally, even though you'll have written it down. I'm going to have you identify or define what is genre, again. And Kendra, I'm going to ask you to write down 3 different types of genres. Okay? So let's get ourselves together. Everybody stand up. Good. Head to the library. Go with your partners. Identify on your writing sheet what is genre, and then identify 3 different types of genre. Okay? So let's come on back. And Melissa, can you tell everyone what you wrote down as best as you can? What is genre?
Genre is different types of books or areas of books.
That, even though it doesn't sound perfect, is perfect. Genre is the types of books. Kendra, what is genre to you?
Same thing. The type of book.
Okay, well, you were one, we asked you to write down 3 different kinds of genre. So you and your group, did you come up with any?
Yeah, we came up with fiction, nonfiction, and autobiography.
Fiction, nonfiction, and autobiography. Okay, 3 different types of genre. What was your fiction book? Can you come up with one?
Harry Potter.
Perfect. Now, wait a second though. Great one there. It's fiction.
Oh, that's fantasy.
Ah, perfect. So, you just hit on a great example. Genres can be 2 different kinds, Kendra. That is perfect. It can be fiction. It can be fantasy fiction. Harry Potter. What was your other genre type?
Nonfiction.
Nonfiction. Good example?
That book Wild by Cheryl Strayed.
Well, I think that's a good example. If we were to read Wild, we'd have to look backwards to find out if that really is nonfiction, if in other words, if it's something that really happened. But if it was something that really happened, it could fall under the category of nonfiction and
Autobiography?
autobiography too, if she's telling a story about herself. So those are great examples. So let's bring this all the way around so we make sure that we've got what we wanted in terms of our standards. We were comparing and contrasting text in different forms of genres. Melissa's named some, Kendra's named some. So as we're leaving for lunch, I want to actually work on some exit tickets. So Melissa, name one type of genre.
Reference.
Reference. That's a good example. I think you're right. An informational text can be considered a type of genre, a reference book. You can go to lunch. Kendra, type of genre.
Fantasy.
Fantasy. Example.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. You can go to lunch. Give me one more before you leave, Kendra.
Science fiction.
Excellent. Science fiction. A subcategory of genre, literature, that's special to itself. Science fiction. Great example of another form of genre. So, as a wrap-up, we now have nailed genre. When we come back tomorrow, we're going to talk about some subcategories of genre that we've already talked about, and then we'll really dig into these texts in terms of some other literary characteristics that are in text. But what we wanted to do today was get the big picture of what is genre. Nice job. Everybody's been on task. You can all go to lunch. Thank you.